Hi, everybody. We're back for another episode of Casting Notes from Rose and Kim. Hi, Kim. How have you
Hey,
been?
Rose. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning back in with us. It's so good to see you again, my dear.
Always good to see you. But I have to say, we have a special guest and I want to get right to him because he's so fascinating. I know you do too.
Yes.
So come on out. It's a special surprise guest, I know. And it's James Pearson from the UK.
Hello. How you
Hi,
doing?
James.
James is a casting director in the UK, and you guys are going to find out all about him. How are you?
Good. Yeah, very good. It was a sunny day today, even though it was cold. Now it's very dark. So yeah, I've got my ring light. Actors always have a ring light. That's the thing. So it brightens the room up.
You look
Lights
wonderful. You truly do. Thank God for a light, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're in Los Angeles, Florida, and London. So it's crazy, but we made it work. And thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Isn't it amazing though that now this is kind of the world, but it is sort of working though, isn't it?
It's more than sort of working. It's actually how you and I met. And I mean, I think there's so many negative things in life right now. We have to embrace the positive things. And this is one of them. And I've really relished knowing you over these few months. And I'm anxious for others to get to know you. Tell us about your collective creative initiative that you started during the pandemic. And I'm fascinated. Please tell us more.
Yeah, it was really special actually. So we were on Broadway actually at the time, where there's a show over here that we cast called Six the Musical, and we cast it in the West End, and it's on UK tour, and then it's also on Norwegian Cruise Line on two of their ships. So we cast all those productions. So we cast 6 productions of it a year, which is mental. And it was opening on Broadway, and all the UK team went over to see the opening night on Broadway, which is so exciting, or a gala night, I think you call it. And it was the day Broadway closed down, and we were like, oh my gosh. So they'd done a month of previews and they didn't get to open it. I mean, utterly heartbreaking. In essence, you kind of look back and go, actually, it was probably quite a good thing. So you've got the reviews, so they will bring it back, and at least they can kind of start off afresh rather than it being reviewed and then closing. And so, you lose that momentum. But yeah, and then we were like, whoa, this is quite bad. And we were due to sort of stay the rest of the week and fly back. And we were like, there's no one's really saying what's happening, so let's get home early. So Delta were amazing. They kind of changed our flights for no extra cost, and we flew back on a pretty much empty plane the following morning, bizarrely. And then Monday came, and over the end of that week, we were like preempting what was going to happen. And then Monday came, and within 24 hours, we went to zero. Or everything stopped. And so then there was lots of kind of wandering around our garden at sort of 10 a.m, crying in your pants, that's our underwear, drinking wine at 10 a.m, sort of weeping about the decisions you'd made through your entire life, as I think everyone had done. And and sort of the cats sort of looking at us, sort of what's going on, and just really feeling hollow, I suppose. And then our community, which is extraordinary, everywhere. When I say our community, I mean every ounce of it. Vancouver to LA to Broadway to theaters in Oklahoma and Ohio and UK and China and every part of it. If it's part of the arts, it's our community. And we saw that online on Twitter and Instagram, immediately people sort of started to help each other and started to do free classes and like do free dance classes and acting classes and all this kind of stuff, which was really phenomenal. And we started doing like Q&As and things like that. And we really saw this come together. And the first time we were asked to do a Q&A, I mean, it was the last thing we wanted to do. And it was on a Facebook page called The Hustle. And the wonderful Jason Broderick said, would you do like talk about the industry? You know, people need this, they need something positive. And, you know, I mean, literally like, no, I can't do this. But we did. So Rosie and I sort of, you know, popped some makeup on and put on a smiley face as you do. And it helped, and it really helped us. It really helped us mentally. It made us feel like there was something that maybe we should be doing for the industry. And I think like 10,500 people viewed it and watched it, and the comments, and that was like incredibly emotional. And we got emails from it and saying, God, this is what I need to hear. Thank you, and all that. And we thought, well, okay, there's something. And then we saw the community kind of helping out, and so we started to feel more positive. And a very dear friend of ours in the UK, there are these competitions, these government competitions through Innovate UK, and it's basically innovative business ideas, or businesses as a whole, and they call them competitions, and normally it's for manufacturing or app building or maybe medicine or a vaccine, that kind of thing. That's what it's about normally. But this one was for areas of industry that had been heavily hit by COVID, and that was it. So we were like, okay, this is interesting, because we were looking at our community and we thought, this is not sustainable. It's going to hit a point where those practitioners are going to have to charge people because there's no work. You know, there wasn't even like you could look right and get a cafe job, or look left and do telesales. There was nothing, and there was no government help for self-employed over here, nothing. And so we sort of thought, well, that's going to change all this goodwill. People are going to need money, and then people aren't going to be able to afford to pay for it. So we were like, that's our business. That's what we can do. We can try and go for this funding and create an online platform where we offer free classes, but the practitioners get paid. So really simple idea. And we had like 5 days to write a full business plan. It was really intense. And we did that, and we sent it off. And we were supposed to hear the 1st of May, and we didn't. And they said, oh, listen, we've been overwhelmed. I think they had 8,600 business plans sent in, and it was more than they get all year for all the competitions, for this one competition. And then we got an email like a couple of weeks later saying, yes, we want to, you're one of the 800 winners, and we want to offer you your full grant to run this for 6 months, and which was incredible. And then there was a deadline of being able to launch it on the 1st of June. So we had 9 days to build the website, put the classes together, find practitioners, we found patrons, promote it, everything. And that's it. So all in all, it was like 14 days from concept to delivery, and we did it, and that's it. And now we're like, so basically it's 30 hours a week of free online dance classes, acting classes, voice classes, mental health seminars, yoga, fitness, tax advice, Q&As with casting directors and producers and directors. And yeah, and it was to run 6 months, and it finishes now at the end of November. Unfortunately, we tried for like Arts Council funding, and we only hit like 50% of the criteria or whatever. And private funding, we were going down that route, and that was going very well. But then with everything and watching, business go down. So it's had its life in its current form. It will finish on the 27th of November. But if you go on collectivecreativeinitiative.co.uk, and all the classes, they stay up for a month. The Q&As stay up for the whole time. So you can watch it either live or you can go back and catch up. And that's where we get a majority of the classes. But yeah, we kind of average around 700 people watch every single day.
That's amazing.
Well, I'll be taking the salsa class after we do this today.
I know, right?
That looked like so much fun. I'm like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, that would feed my soul. That it's just so good. Yes.
Eddie Slattery works on and has worked on Strictly for him. So, you know, the whole Strictly thing. So he's one of the teachers and tutors and part of all of that. So our practitioners are like some of the top practitioners in the world. It's been absolutely incredible. We did a Broadway takeover as well. So back in September, we worked with RWS Entertainment, who helped us facilitate it. And so it's 2 days where we had all Broadway stars and Broadway practitioners taking the classes, and it was amazing. It was like, yeah, really incredible. So it's been a really humbling experience to do, but really wonderful. And like, you know, Rosie and I talk all the time, probably the greatest thing I've ever done, to be honest, hands down. Like the greatest, it's hands down my greatest achievement.
Wonderful.
Because it's just watching everyone, what people have got out of it. But more than that, watching the community share it and talk about it when you're sort of over here and they're all talking about it, and you kind of go, that's really special. And people like, go for it, sorry.
It's your babies.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's been, but we think 30 hours a week, what were we thinking? Why didn't we say 20? That would have been enough.
Who takes that in real life? Nobody. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
6 hours a day. It's like, what are we doing?
You should look to like have it live on after, just, you know, as a website where people can pay or not pay, you know, however you do it. But it just sounds like you have such great content. I hope you work a way that it can have some life afterwards.
Yeah, we're looking into that, and I think what we'll do is we'll just have December, like, bit of downtime away from it, but we have ideas of what we can do with it for the new year and what it might look like. We did have a weekend of CCI Live where we were going to do socially distanced live classes, but we went into lockdown again. But there's lots of ideas of what we can do with it, but in its current form, unless somebody wants to chuck a few quid at us about it, you
never know how many quids our audience has, but
please email.
Put it out there. So I'll put the link up in the description here, and it'll be at least up for a month, right? If not.
Yeah, so the classes will be there till the end of December. Like November's classes will be there through December, and they'll slowly trickle out, and then the 27th of December, the only things that we left are the Q&As, but the Q&As are amazing with casting directors and producers and directors and actors.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that they'll stay.
So you'll keep those up, right? Yeah. The website will live. All right, that's good. No, that's some cool stuff. Tell us, you've got some questions, Kim, I know.
Well, I know, I think it's just so fascinating. There's such a balance of yin and yang in this whole COVID environment, right? I mean, there's so much negativity, but I love how the arts community completely counterbalanced it with our arts, right? And, I think Zoom is a perfect example of something that's going to live on, in a much bigger world than it did pre-COVID, even, post-COVID. And I think that the arts community is utilizing and learning so much right now that we can do that makes it far more globally accessible. Like I know there are so many actors in the US who always, often think, boy, I wonder if I should try and make a leap to the UK. I have a dear friend who did that. And vice versa. There are, I auditioned so many actors who came from the UK to the US to make it, and like where to start, how to get started, who's who, and opportunities like that, I think are just like so priceless, right? Where you can make that connection before you make a physical move. Now, and I'm curious, with casting in the UK, do you find yourself, I'm always amazed. There's so many wonderful actors from the UK who come here. And of course, in the UK, like training is so embedded. And, all too often in the US, I find people think, oh, I'm pretty and I was in the high school play, I'm going to be a star. They don't buckle down.
The standard.
Right? But I think that the actors that come from the UK, they've worked on their dialects. They've worked on their craft. They are multifaceted. They can sing, they can dance, they can act, they can do film, they can do theater, and they've studied all of those. I'm curious what your experience has been, if at all, of people coming into your office or auditioning for you from the US who think that they're ready for performing in London, for example. What's your experience with that for you?
Yeah, so I think that what we get is, interestingly, so we get Americans that we've come across, for projects we've worked on, have been more theatrical rather than screen stuff. And they all come over with pretty strong training. So they've been to a conservatoire, or they've come from Broadway, where they have that, the Broadway sort of, the whole ethos is gym, training, show, and all that, and it's class, being class is a massive thing on Broadway to maintain your craft. And especially in musicals, I always think of musical theatre performers and dancers, and certainly dancers, but musical as athletes, in the sense that you have to maintain that training, because you're dancing the vocal muscle and then the acting muscle. And with musicals, the trends, you go through trends. So at the moment it's very contemporary with Dear Evan Hansen, Six, when it comes over, which no doubt it will, and we want to cast it, Jagged Little Pill, which is incredible. And so you get, it's very much about that kind of feel. When I graduated in the late 90s as an actor, it was everyone was trying to write the next Les Mis. So it was Le Carver, Lautrec, Martin Guerre, and so on. So there's always these trends. So you've got to stay on top of the trend as well. But when we've auditioned Americans and Canadians, they're very on it. They're very, very. I think they come over knowing the competition, because they've come from like Broadway, or they've come from a conservatoire in America. So they come over fairly hungry. And I think they get a good sense of, and because we have, it's very easy in London to find class. It's really simple. You've got Pineapple Dance at it, Dance Works, Actors Centre, etc., and there's loads of classes that go on. That I've always, when I've done like sessions, like acting session stuff, there's as a rule always an American in there, always, and so they're very like, the way I'm going to get to know what the scene is to get into class. And I think that comes from there. So I think there's kind of a mutual, in the theatre world, there's very much a mutual understanding of what needs to be achieved to be successful. And yeah, so I think Americans and Canadians that we've met have always been very well prepped and have a great attitude about really coming over and attacking the scene and really being on it, and really sort of going for it. And I think they do a lot of pre-work in emailing agents and casting directors and places, and finding that we get emails from Americans quite often, and they're wanting to know the lay of the land, which is sensible. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
that's very encouraging to hear. I mean, one of our ongoing jokes here is, if you're a dancer, you dance every day. If you're a vocalist, you vocalize every day. If you're a violinist, you'll play the violin every day. If you're a cellist, you play the cello every day. If you're an actor, you sit by the phone and wait for it to ring. So,
that's going to help your craft.
Right. It's not going to, and I'm always encouraging actors, like, if you want to be an actor, you have to train. And there is a big difference between being a theater actor and a film actor, and it's two different sets of training. So being trained in theater isn't going to automatically translate to film, and vice versa. You have to train separately in both.
And the colleges over here, the drama schools over here, even if you're on a musical theatre course, I was chatting to one today actually, they will leave with an acting reel. So they will leave with a dance reel, a vocal reel, and an acting reel. So that's the colleges over here are very tuned into making sure that the kids leaving are rounded as much as they can be, and have the tools to go, because it's so competitive. I mean, every year it gets more and more competitive. It's unbelievable. So yeah, they do. The colleges over here really, they actually work relentlessly. And this period through COVID, if they have done incredible work to keep training these kids online. Unbelievable.
Love
I
it.
mean, it's, we talk to people involved in college, and they're exhausted just trying to keep them energized and say it's okay, and all of that. Oh my gosh, it's
Well, the
unreal.
fact is, back in the 70s and 80s, when I was coming up, like a triple threat was like really, really good. That's like the norm now. You have to be a quadruple or quintuple.
Yeah.
Like you can't just dance. You have to be able to do a double back summy, before after followed by a couple more back handsprings and then jump up and play the guitar. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you
And
know,
aerial. A big
right.
thing now is aerial. Like,
You can't do an aerial.
oh my gosh, the dancers need aerial and hoop, and oh my, it's incredible. It's incredible.
No,
Right, exactly.
crazy.
So it's a much more demanding and competitive field. I mean, I can't imagine competing in that field now, like these kids 19, 20, 21 years old are doing. And it's so impressive what they can do.
Yeah.
It's just
It
mind
really is. It really is. And that's a credit to the colleges, really pushing them and really going, okay, this is what the industry is. We've got to try and give you that if we can, we've got to extend that out to you. Definitely.
And it's incredible what you've been doing through COVID, all this stuff. I mean, you're a testament to keep it going, let's keep our mind going, our body, and I love watching you. Tell me, if you were mentioning a gala that you were working on, is that public? Is that something we can also promote for you, or is
I will
that
send you the link definitely when it comes. Yeah, it's a charity concert, so raising money for shelter and crisis at Christmas. And so and Rosie's working on that now. That's why she's not here, trying to get some fabulous musical theatre performers, and basically they'll sing a song, and some will be filmed doing it, some will do it in this because they can't get to London or whatever, and then it'll be streamed Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. So I'll send you the details for that. But absolutely, yeah, that's really special. So
no, I love that. And I don't think we mentioned Rosie is your partner and wife.
yeah, she's the boss.
Yes,
That
of
is.
course,
Smart man.
Exactly. But this has been such a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. We learned so much. I certainly did. And I love seeing you. And I want everybody to stay safe and healthy. That's all I know.
Can I promote one little thing?
Please.
So through the other thing that we did in lockdown when we weren't casting was, I'll be really quick, but our last casting meeting before we went to New York was with a writer called Tim Gilvin, and it was to cast an actor in his one-man musical called Stay Awake Jake. And we were going to cast it, do a concert to try and find producers, and then go over there. Anyway, lockdown happened, and we were like, okay, let's do a bedroom recording of the album, and we'll do that. But me and Rosie worked on it, and we actually got a producer involved, wonderful Stephen McGill, and then we managed to get in a studio through friends. Everyone came together, did everything for free, and we got a full album recording, full orchestra. It's an unbelievable. And then the Southwark Playhouse in London asked us if we would be part of their live stream series. So we're now going to be doing a live stream concert of it, which is amazing, of the full album, with the wonderful Ahmed Hamad, who's our actor. And it's a 1 hour, it's all him, 1 hour. And that's live streamed on the 18th and 19th of December. So if you go Southwark Playhouse Theatre, find that and you can click. It's only a tenner, so what's that, $13 to live stream. So it's not being pre-recorded, it's him live with our 6-piece orchestra, and it is really...
Yes,
for sure. That's awesome.
We'll send you a link for that. Sorry, I thought, well, I've got to promote this.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, you're doing the greatest stuff, and this is all I want to see and hear about during COVID is people like you. Just, we're pushing it forward, and I think it's so important. And thank you. So nice to see you. Always nice to see you, Kim. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, James. You've been such a pleasure.